And here we are again. This is Mike Lodge. I'm glad that you're with me. It's a Monday morning. And it was a good weekend, wasn't it? I mean, it was a nice, relaxing weekend. At least it was for me. And I enjoyed it. Didn't do anything. That's why I enjoyed it. I didn't do anything. Didn't do one damn thing. But I enjoyed it. No, I had a very nice luncheon with a very good friend. And it was good food. I love friends that can cook. Normally, I'm the one doing all the cooking, but this time a friend invited me, and we had a very good meal, and I'm very thankful to him. Listen, Joe Manchin, let's talk about him. Senator Joe Manchin. First, he said he was going to vote for the Build Back Better bill, and then a new bill came along, which is exactly the same thing as the old Build Back Better bill. Nothing has changed. It's just that they named it. Now it's an inflation fighter bill or something like that. And I listened to his interviews over the weekend because he had to come out and sell why he's now voting for the bill and why he didn't do it last time. Well, it's the exact same bill, just some minor changes. One of those changes, and I was amazed at his logic because there was no logic to support this bill. Because this is a bad bill. It's going to raise our inflation even greater because the more money that the government puts into this environment of inflation, it creates more inflation. And that's exactly what they're doing. So he was talking about the bill and how it was not going to raise taxes. Oh, this bill is not going to raise taxes. And then in the very next sentence, it's, yes, we're going to raise taxes 15% on corporations of so much money and above. Every time that a tax bill leaves Congress and it goes over to the IRS and the IRS attorneys look at it and then compare it with the other writings within the code, that bill becomes expensive for the United States. It becomes a much higher tax. Not just on billion-dollar companies, but on million-dollar companies, on $100,000 companies. Don't ever believe that a tax bill only attacks one group of individuals. It attacks everyone. Because if they also raise that by 15%, who do you think is going to eat that? You and I, the consumer, is going to eat that. That's going to come down to us. And so 15% goes up, that means inflation goes up. I don't understand why politicians are so stupid in this matter. I didn't do any podcasts over the weekend because I was so frustrated by what happened last week. I mean, here we have a government that just, all they do is talk about spending more and more money, raising more and more taxes. Every time that you do that, what do you think happens? People leave the country. Companies leave the country. They can go to Ireland. They can go to all these countries that are tax free and set up their domains, and they are tax free. Why would they even want to be in America anymore if you are going to consistently attack businesses? And it's not just the big businesses, the billion-dollar businesses. It's you and I, the mom and pop people who are operating out of our home offices. We're going to be hurt. The consumer is going to be hurt. So I want to take a very careful look here, because if you look at California, what did they do? California said, we are going to tax businesses, we are going to we are going to tax high-income people. So what did all those people do? Whammo, they moved out of the state of California. All of those big companies moved over to Texas where there's no taxes. All the wealthy moved into states where there was no taxes. California lost. California were idiots, and they still are idiots, by the way. Nothing has changed there. There's still these idiot-thinking people that tax and spend is the way, and that government is the only way. So businesses moved out of the state of California. They went to places that were more tax-friendly. They went to places where they could set up their businesses rather cheaply than in California with all the red tape and everything else. So now here we go. We have the federal government now saying, okay, We're going to tax corporations another 15%. We we are going to tax the rich. So here people leave. There are companies out there right now. If you look at the Nomad Capital, who deals with people 6 figures and above, moving them out of the United States and into tax-friendly countries. There are companies out there doing that right now. When Biden became president, businesses began moving capital out of the United States and putting them into better tax havens or better tax villages, or whatever you want to call it, places where they can have good tax systems. People began to get multiple passports. They became residents of other countries so that they could move quickly. And it's still happening even to this day. If you go to Google, or not Google, but to YouTube, and if you bring up Nomad Capital, every single day he is there with tips and ways to move your assets and your money and your lives to places where you want it. That's his slogan. Go to places that want you. America doesn't want you anymore. They're trying to chase you out. They're trying to chase businesses out of this country. Higher taxes. Why would you be in a folly of more and more taxes when you can go to a country where taxes are coming down? And sometimes there's no taxes. If you look at Monaco, there's no taxes. Why would you not be smart and take your companies and put them into those countries? I would. I'm looking at doing it right now. America, politicians just don't get it. Senator Manchin is wrong. He's 100% wrong. And because of this vote, he should be voted out of office. Because this is a big flip-flop. And it's going to create higher inflation for the American people. Anytime that you raise anything, anytime that you spend more money out of the government, you create more inflation. And he was wrong when he voted for the trillion some odd dollars that he voted for with all the stimulus program. That created inflation. He is a true diehard Democrat. And the only reason why he said he wasn't going to vote for Build Back Better is because the people of his state said, no, we cannot spend any more money. But you have to remember that politicians are politicians, and they only go by what their party says. Not by what the American people say, but by what their party wants to do. Listen, if you don't think corporations are paying their share into the system, you have to look at their overall tax system of how much they pump into their states in payroll taxes, in workers' compensation fees, in property taxes, in state and local government taxes. If they're hotels, they're pumping in hotel taxes. And then we get to the federal level, and we get to the fuel. If they have trucks on the road providing supplies to all their stores, they're paying federal gasoline and state gasoline taxes. And now the federal government says we need more of your taxes. We want 15% more. You have to look at the overall amount of taxes that are paid by these corporations. And if you don't think that they're paying taxes, they are paying through the nose. If you're in the state of California, as an example, workers' compensation is so expensive. It's out of this world. A lot of companies can't even purchase it because they can't afford it. Especially if you're in the healthcare industry, because once you get to nurses and professions like that, the workers' compensation rates go sky high. So, listen, Senator Manchin has gone bonkers on this. He's an absolute idiot for voting yes on this. You cannot tax the American people anymore. You tax the corporation, you tax the consumer, which is you and me. You raise taxes on anything, you pass it down to you and me. Which means that everything that we purchase, everything that we eat, everything that we drive in the car, everything that we consume gets taxed higher because corporations are getting taxed more. See, corporations are there to create jobs and to create financial success for their stockholders. They're not a social welfare state. It's not what they're there for. But the federal government thinks that corporations should pay more and more as corporations raise more money for the government, from various governments, by hiring more and more people. You hire more and more people, those people are able to go out and buy more. That means sales and use taxes are being pumped into the state governments. Fuel taxes are being pumped into the state government. Payroll taxes are being pumped into the state and federal governments. Money is flowing because more and more people are being employed. If they vote this bill in, it will take out jobs. It's not going to create new jobs, so don't even think about that. It will not create one single new job. What it will do is destroy other jobs because now companies have got to look and say, okay, my taxes are going up. I've got to cut someplace, so I've got to cut in my workforce. And people will get laid off. That's how the real world works. The government doesn't see the real world. They're not even involved in the real life of you and me. The life of our small businesses, the life of big companies. They don't care. All that they want is those tax dollars. That's the only thing that they want. Because they've got more spending to do. You see, when government sits down around the round table, they don't talk about what they can cut. No, they don't think about what they can save. They don't think about how they can help the American people by cutting back on their spending and reducing the amount of expenses going out. No, they want to increase the expenses. And the only way that they can increase their spending is by taxing you and me in some form or another. And some of these states are out of control. I remember in the state of California, they floated this idea that said, if a satellite floats over the state of California from point A to point B, we should get a tax. They floated that idea. That's how dumb they are. We have individuals out there in government that have no idea what they're doing to you and me, to the American people. So listen, Joe Manchin is wrong. Call his office, pound on his table, and tell him, do not vote for this bill because it's wrong for the American people. It's wrong for this country. It does nothing for inflation. In fact, what it does, it increases inflation. It grows inflation. What we should be doing, if you really want to be a good senator, sit down and see where you can cut. There are places where you've got redundancy. Why does the IRS need to spend $75 million on bullets? Those are the types of questions that we should be asking. Do we have too much government? And yes, the answer is yes. 100 times yes. Listen, this is Mike Lodge. If you want to have more access to me, go to my website, which is www.lodge-co.com. Again, that's www.lodge-co.com. Everybody go out and have a great day. Tell Manchin he's wrong. Tell him he's stupid. And tell him to get his vote back for the American people and not for his political party. Talk with you soon. Bye-bye.